The names reportedly being floated for a role is Florida Senator Marco Rubio, Senate Intel Committee Vice Chair and Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He joins us now. Thank you so much, Senator. Great to see you. So first up, are you up for that job? And is it happening? Have you heard anything?
Well, first of all, like anything that happens under any Trump administration, there's one person that'll make those decisions, and his name's Donald Trump. And he's been focused on winning an election, not what's going to happen next. He's got great people working on that. The answer to that question is, I don't know. I haven't talked to them about any of that. But obviously, you know, that's the season we now enter into in speculation. I know I'm in the Senate, and I know that in the Senate, I'm going to be there ready to work and get a lot of these good things done that are going to require legislative action. But the other stuff, you know, they'll play it. So he's going to make great choices. Pick a J.D. Vance. It turned out to be a fantastic pick. He had really good people working with him the first time, and he's got really good people working on it now. And when he focuses in on it, as I imagine he's starting to do, you know, we're going to start getting those decisions, and I'm going to be working with them one way or the other.
All right, well, we'll keep on following that as we play the Washington parlor game of who's going to be in the cabinet and who's not. You probably heard Peter Doocy's report just a moment ago about the rise of the resistance. Got Kathy Hochul, Letitia James, Gavin Newsom out in California is calling a special session in the legislature to try to Trump-proof California. I feel like I'm watching a Star Wars movie here. The resistance is gathering already against the Trump presidency. What does he need to do, Senator, in order to govern effectively, because he's going to have all these people trying to upset the apple cart?
Well, first of all, resistance to what? Resistance to what the American people just voted for? In the history of the Republic, no candidate for president has been clearer about what they're going to do in the simplest language possible. He's going to secure the border. He's going to bring down prices for energy and other things in America. And he's going to make us strong in the world so that we don't have a war. He's been very clear about this. I mean, no one's been more explicit. And people voted for that overwhelmingly. This is a landslide. It's an electoral college landslide. He won the popular vote. Even in states that he didn't win, Virginia, New Jersey. I mean, these are states that became incredibly more competitive. Even the state of New York was more competitive. So what are they, a resistance to the American people? This is their attitude. Their attitude is, you guys are a bunch of dummies. We're really smart people. We know what's best for you. You don't even know what's best for yourselves. And that's why they lost this election, and that's why they're going to continue to lose elections as long as they adopt that attitude. A resistance to what? You played earlier clips of the whatever Attorney General, whatever she is in New York, the mayor as well, the governor as well. Yep. These are just Democrat politicians that sense opportunity. Their party is down. This is a chance for them to step up and make themselves the face of the future of the Democratic Party. But I keep asking, they were resisting what? They are resistance to the American people that just voted Donald Trump into office overwhelmingly.
Senator, it's been a while since we've had you on and had the chance to chat. And obviously, this is just a couple days after a very historic moment for the country. How would you describe this moment for your party?
Well, the Republican Party has fundamentally been remade in a very positive way. It reflects a multi-ethnic, multicultural coalition of Americans, united by that. I think it's an example that our primary identity as people is not our ethnicity or our skin color. Okay, it is the fact that we're mothers and fathers, that we're small business owners, that we're workers and employees who work for wages, who have to pay bills, who want their kids to have a better future, but are struggling with the cost of housing and everything else, who are worried about some war breaking out that might suck their children into serving in combat, who are worried about these things very deeply. And by the way, in Hispanic communities in particular, deeply worried that some criminal from somewhere in the world gets into this country illegally and comes to your neighborhood and murders someone that you love, because it's happened. And that's the neighborhoods that many of them are going to. So the Republican Party now reflects this governing coalition for the country. Now, we have to turn that into action. That helps you win an election. Now you have to do the things that respond to why people voted this way in the first place. And if you do that, I think it helps not just strengthen the Republican Party. I think it gives us a governing coalition that starts to break some of the gridlock that has kept us from doing things, meaningful things for our country in a long time. But that's the opportunity. We got to go out and do it, right? But I feel good about it. But now we've got the actual work to do.
Yeah. To your point about the Republican Party sort of growing the tent here, there's a couple of things I wanted to take a look at in terms of the election results. First of all, Starr County, Texas. Here's the results over the last 3 elections. 2016, this is a heavily Hispanic district. 2016, Clinton beat Trump 79-19. Biden beat him 52-47. But look at this. The county flipped. 57-41 in Trump's favor. Now let's look at your home state, Florida. 2016, Trump won at 49-47. He won at 51-48 in 2020. But then look at this. On Tuesday, he won at 56 to 43%. And a large part of that was Hispanic voters, particularly in Miami-Dade County, saying, you know what, Trump's our guy. If you can grow the Hispanic vote that quickly, what does that bode for the future for a Republican Party that just 3 years ago, Democrats were saying will never win another election because it's so fractured?
Well, I think it begins, but my free advice to Democrats is fire all these consultants, pollsters, and so-called experts that gave you advice on how to reach the Hispanic vote because they don't know jack. Okay? The truth of the matter is that Hispanic voters are not in favor of illegal immigration. They are not in favor of uncontrolled immigration into our country. They're not in favor of allowing criminals to roam our streets and kill, murder, rape. They're not in favor of any of those things. Hispanic voters are not in favor of high prices that it makes life unaffordable, and they're not in favor of policies that send our jobs to other countries. And you know what? Neither are most Americans. Mm-hmm. So here's the headline: Hispanic Americans are Americans, and they believe and feel about these issues the way all Americans feel. And I think that extends to other communities as well. It goes back to my earlier point. Our primary identity is not the color of our skin. It's not our ethnicity. It is how we live our life on a daily basis, and it's hard for everyday people. So, yeah, they had all these great endorsers. Bad Bunny didn't deliver for Kamala Harris, okay? Jennifer Lopez didn't deliver for Kamala Harris because the average voter isn't, even in the Hispanic community, they'll listen to the guy's music, but they don't give a damn what he thinks about this because he doesn't have to pay the bills they have to pay. No one's going to murder him, some illegal migrant going to cross the border and murder him, but they're worried about it because they're coming to their communities. Yeah. So I think that's what this is proof of, and you're seeing it play out. You talk about that border region county, of course they voted for Trump. Migrants are coming across their neighborhood where they live. They're not in Beverly Hills watching some PBS documentary about this. They're living it every single day.
Yeah. Can I just finish off where we started? So your name's floated around for a Secretary of State. If you're asked, you would serve in a Trump administration, Senator?
Well, I'm going to work with the Trump administration in whatever capacity they feel is best. I'm not presumptuous to say they're going to pick me. Donald Trump makes that decision, and he makes good decisions about the people that work for him. I've not talked to them about it. But I mean, ultimately, I know I have a job right now, and that's in the U.S. Senate. If something else comes about, and that's a decision they make, then obviously, we'll cross that bridge when that moment comes. But we're not there. I think it's still kind of early to think about those things. We were 48 hours removed from this victory.
Well, you talk about all that work to do. You got to get started early, right?
Yeah. Senator, it's been a minute. Good to catch up with you again.
Thanks, Senator.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.